Welcome back to another title charge video. Today we are predicting our Game Week 7 Premier League predictions.
But before we get into that, let's just have a little recap of what we predicted last week. So we're going to be running a little bit of a league table. 3 points if you get the scoreline completely right. 1 point if you get the result right. And obviously none if you're just bad at predicting and you don't get anything right. Like Francis. So last week you saw Tom and Francis do a prediction together. Tom ended up winning,
obviously,
11 points. Frank only got 9. So here's Tom's first 3 points of the leaderboard.
Let's move on to the Premier League predictions for Game Week 7.
Woo!
First game, we've got Aston Villa versus Brighton. Now, this is 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. We've got Unai Emery versus De Zerbi. We've got 3rd versus 6th. And we've also got the team ranked 6th for goals versus the team ranked 1st for goals. So surely we're going to see some goals.
And along those lines, I have predicted goals, obviously.
Yep.
So I think I might be a bit swayed by my FPL team this week.
Right, who have you got?
I've just subbed in Matty Cash. I've also got Solly March. I've got Estepinian. I do have Jason Still in goal, so I don't know if this is going to be... but I'm going for a 2-2.
A 2-2?
Yeah, just... I think I can't see either team be bettering the other at the minute, but I think that obviously Brighton are an amazing side, but I just think Villa haven't had the comeuppance in any of their games that they deserve, and I think this might be the game where they get it finally.
Aston Villa haven't lost to Brighton in their last 6 meetings. And Brighton haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 10 games. So you were saying about having Brighton defenders in your FPL team.
Yeah.
They have been struggling defensively.
They have.
So I've also got Estepinian in because his attacking threat is so good.
That is exactly the reason why.
However, with them conceding a lot of goals, I've gone for a 2-1 Villa win at home.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that is a smart one, but I don't think you can underrate the Zerbi ball.
Let's move straight on to the next game, which is Bournemouth versus Arsenal.
Moving on to the 3 o'clock kickoffs.
Yeah, 3 o'clock kickoffs. Arsenal are in fantastic form at the moment, unbeaten in the league so far this season. But they are struggling with a few injuries. So they've got Martinelli, Trossard and Partey all out. And it's now rumoured that Declan Rice and Saka are both injured and they're doubtful for the game.
Yeah.
So what impact do we think that's going to have?
Oh, well, I think that it's going to have a pretty major impact.
Oh, really?
Jesus on the wing, just kind of filling a hole, but not the same hole that Martinelli.
So you think Jesus will be sat on the left and then Nketiah up front?
I think that's the only way that they're able to line up. They've kind of got no options, and we saw Martinelli is very much a go to the byline and whipping the ball from very close to the post. Proper danger area. That's one of the areas that you really want to be occupying. Jesus just isn't that. He isn't that guy. He's not the guy to run to the byline. He's the guy to run into the penalty box and then take a shot or lay it off to someone. All things considered, I've gone for a 1-1.
A 1-1.
Wow. I rate Bournemouth this season from what I've seen of them. So I'm gonna kind of, I guess it's kind of backing them. I think it's
definitely. No, I also rate Bournemouth, but Arsenal haven't lost in this fixture for the last seven times they've met. I think they have got the depth to still come out on with a win in this one. I've gone for a 3-1 Arsenal win.
3-1. Ooh.
Yeah, I think Saka potentially might be alright for the game. If Saka's out, that's 3 of their main attackers not playing. In which case, I think they'll struggle a little bit more.
Absolutely.
But 3-1 Arsenal.
Well, yeah, Saka is the danger man. And then going on to a team with teams with absolutely no danger men at all.
Yeah.
Got Everton versus Luton, obviously. Well, to be fair, in my prediction, I have gone with goals. I've gone 2-1 to Everton.
Oh, wow.
I think that both defences could be open.
We can shake hands on that because I have also got Everton to
There we go, so points could be shared either way.
I don't believe that these teams have ever played each other before. I think this is their first meeting. Obviously,
wow, that is a nice little stat for you.
Yeah, obviously both teams are in bad form. They are. However, Everton got a shock result against Brentford last week.
They did.
And then they also went on to beat Aston Villa away in the Cup midweek. Can we see this as a turning point for Everton?
I think we can, yes. I mean, Dyche is, his accolades kind of speak for themselves. He was managed to keep that Burnley side in the Prem for how many years, and they really didn't deserve it for a lot of the time. So it's taken a little while to get those cogs turning, but definitely wins in the Cup, like bit of rotation here and there, but wins in the Cup, and that could be exactly the jump start that they need.
I saw a lot of people saying that that game against Brentford could have been Dyche's last game if he'd lost. Well, no one's saying that anymore because he's just beaten Brentford and Villa, so he's secured his position for a little bit longer at least. So onto my prediction. I think it's an interesting one. So a few more stats. Everton haven't scored in the last 3 home games. Obviously, they're the home team, and Luton haven't scored in the last 3 away games. Oh. So that would suggest a 0-0, right?
That would suggest.
However, Everton haven't kept a clean sheet in 8 games, and Luton haven't kept a clean sheet in 9 games. So that suggests goals. So this could genuinely go either way. But like I said earlier, I've also gone for a 2-1 Everton win. I think some form behind them. I think Beto gets a goal this week. He's looked quite strong. He's just not had that finishing touch.
No, and I think it comes eventually.
Moving on, we've got Man United versus Crystal Palace. These teams actually met midweek at Old Trafford in the Cup, and that was a pretty overpowering 3-0 win for Man United. Yeah. Both teams did rotate a fair bit though. And so I don't think this game's going to be quite as easy as it was midweek for them.
No.
What are you thinking?
I mean, they played Sophie Namrabat out on the left back role, and it was very much like a De Zerbi Guardiola-esque type play where you've got your full-backs basically playing as your DM. So definitely something to think about there. But I think in the long run, he is just going to be a straight up 6, helping out Casemiro at the back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Both teams have a similar average goals scored, so that could suggest that it's going to be a fairly even game in terms of Premier League. It obviously wasn't midweek. Palace haven't scored in the last 2 games, but I think this is going to be the game where they do score. And I've actually gone for a 1-1. I'm sitting on the fence on this one. 1-1. I think Palace snatch a point from this.
Yeah. I too have gone for a different result than we saw midweek. I've gone for a 2-1 United. As much as I hate to say it, they do have a little bit of sting in them, and we've not seen that yet, but Rashford is yet to do something.
I think we're starting to see it from Bruno. We're starting to. Rashford less so, but it's going to come at some point, isn't it? We just have to see when. Let's move on and talk about Newcastle. And Burnley, but also Newcastle. Yeah. 8 goals. Against Sheffield United.
Detrimental.
I mean, come on, man. Give them a chance. Yeah. We're not playing squad battles on AFC here, are we?
It definitely feels like it.
It was an amazing performance. They're now ranked 2nd for goals behind only Brighton. And we obviously saw Burnley play on Tuesday night against Salford. Obviously, we weren't particularly impressed by Burnley, but you can also watch that matchday vlog on the channel.
Go and check it out. We'll put a link to it wherever it is.
We will. So what are we thinking prediction-wise?
So for this prediction, I reckon Newcastle at St James's, with that kind of momentum going into it. I know normally teams, after they have a big scoreline, they don't normally follow that up. I reckon this is going to be a different story. I reckon with the amount of rotation that Newcastle have, I'm going to say a 4-0. I don't reckon it's going to be as much.
I've also gone for a 4-0.
Oh, there you go. We didn't even know that one. Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
4-0.
Yeah, so we're going from a Burnley 4-0 win during the week to a 4-0 loss at the weekend against Newcastle. I think Newcastle are too good. Yeah. Burnley look like a championship side. I think...
We cannot reiterate that enough. Championship level. Yeah. I'm sorry, we're coming for you, Burnley fans.
I mean, prove us wrong. But I just think Newcastle are too good. They're going to come out with this with a pretty easy win. I think they'll start Wilson again. I think Wilson scores because Isaac started midweek, didn't he? So I think I think 4-0.
Yeah, I think they're going to be like a sledgehammer to paper, really.
That's the thing with Newcastle. When they get the high scores, they don't stop like other teams do. Like you see a lot of scorelines where it goes 3 or 4-0 and it kind of stops there. We saw it against Tottenham. What was the game last year? They scored 5 in 20 minutes or something. Like they just don't stop. They are consistent.
And you've got to fully accredit that to Eddie Howe.
Right? Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Great.
One of favourite managers. I really like him.
Great watching that side. I mean, like a little while to warm up this season, but like 8-0 kind of shows us where they can get to. Oh. So let's hope that gravy train continues. Really,
Champions League, hopefully.
I'm all for it. Really.
Let's move on to West Ham versus Sheffield United. We are now going to talk about the other side of that 8-0 scoreline. Sheffield United, what are you doing, man? Do you think the manager needs to go, or do you think that's not the right move?
Oof. Well, he's come out with a lot. Been chatting a lot to the media.
He has been in the press a lot
to the press. So it's kind of an interesting one. I'm going to side with keeping him around. Sheffield United is his side. After all, they have built that side for him, for his type of football. Just give him a little bit more. Yeah. I mean, like the fixtures haven't been too kind to them. Newcastle are like pretty well-oiled machine.
There's some tough games in the Premier League. I would agree with you. I think you've got to keep him for another few.
I think either way for Sheffield United, I don't think that their realistic expectations are to stay in the Prem this season.
Realistically.
No. So I think if you keep your boat just above water, keeping the manager in, keeping the same football, keeping the players happy, really, as long as your players are happy, and going down back to the Championship, but then being one of the strongest teams in the Championship easily.
Yeah, definitely. No, they will be. Yeah.
Mate, I think that's maybe a solution for Sheffield United this season.
And if we add West Ham into the conversation, they are in fairly good form this season. Another interesting stat: we've got the two highest shot-stopping keepers in one game.
Wow.
Areola and Foderingham are both top of the ranking system for shots stopped. But with that being said, that means that they are conceding a lot of shots, and I think West Ham are going to nick this. Well, not nick it. I think they're going to win this one. I think they're going to carry on with their fairly good form and go for a 3-1 West Ham win.
3-1. So you still reckon that Sheffield United have got a goal in them? Yeah?
I think they have got a goal in them. Yeah. I think Archer looks really good actually.
Yeah.
I would have taken Archer at Huddersfield any day. But yeah, I think he looks really good. I think they've got a goal in them, but West Ham too good.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the same. I mean, looking at that midfield now with I don't think any team ever has been able to replace an 100 million player
Rice,
with a substantial amount of players. Yeah. And West Ham have done an absolute exhibition on how to do it.
Unreal this season. I'm in no way disrespecting Declan Rice. I think he's a fantastic player, but James Ward-Prowse has arguably contributed more this season than Declan Rice did last season, and they won the trophy last year. So,
and you've got to say that does the team look better with them in? And I'd say overall it does.
I think it does as well.
Great stuff from I guess you've got to give Moyes some credit. I guess you've got to give the board some credit. I know they've come under a lot of stick over the years, but they've got this one absolutely right. Going for a 2-0 in this one.
2-0.
So
we're both going for West Ham wins then.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next game, which is Wolves versus Man City. Now, Man City have just been too good, haven't they? They have been incredible this season. However, Rodri has been sent off, so he is suspended. Will that make a difference?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think that's a simple solution. I think that somehow City have been able to keep afloat with all of the injuries, now the suspension that they've got, pretty major stuff. Rodri, I don't think, has missed that many games for City, and all of a sudden you're taking him out as well as a massive bulk of your squad that he's had over the past few seasons. So I just think that now is going to be the time that they might be a little bit of an upset here.
So what have you gone for?
I have gone for a 1-1.
Oh, a draw.
Yeah.
Who scores?
I mean, Alvarez with his recent form.
Right. So Haaland misses out this week, you think?
Yeah.
So are you going for a different captain on FPL then if you go for that prediction?
I should do, really.
That would be ballsy.
I should do, really. Check my prediction later for another extra game for who I'm going to captain for my FPL this week. But yeah, 1-1. I just Pedro Neto on the wing. He's one of the top assisters in the league. So
I'll just say that Wolves are ranked 17th for goals conceded, and City equal with Newcastle for goals scored.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're missing Rodri, but I still think they are just going to be too good for Wolves. My initial predictions for the whole season were that Wolves are going down this season.
Yep.
I'm going to continue on that. I've gone for a 4-1 Man City win.
Wow.
I think with Wolves scoring, I think without Rodri, City do make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Wolves do get a goal, but I think that'll only be after City have already scored 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I'm going for Haaland to score 2 in this game. I think he gets on the score sheet. And Man City have won this fixture every time since 2019. So that's a good few years of just beating Wolves every time. Now we're moving on to a big game for you.
Yeah.
As a Liverpool fan, we've got Tottenham versus Liverpool. This is the 5:30 kickoff on the Saturday. So we've got fourth versus second, which obviously makes it an interesting game anyway. And both teams do tend to score a lot of goals. So
well, I have looked at the previous fixtures and goals.
Yep.
Even though Spurs have had defensive managers, they've still conceded goals to Liverpool. And I see absolutely nothing different happening this year. I think both engines up top, like just watching Spurs this season, I have absolutely loved it. I've got to say, Yves Bissouma, what a player! Just absolutely press proof, but then able to run with the ball as well. Just completely take players out of games.
Yeah.
Just absolutely unbelievable. I don't think I've seen that in a good long while.
We've also got two obviously big creators in both teams. We've got Maddison in the Spurs team and obviously Salah in the Liverpool team. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows obviously Salah anyway from the previous seasons, but we've not seen Maddison in the Tottenham team apart from this season. He's been unbelievable this season already. Yeah. His 2 assists against Arsenal. Obviously, we saw his little bickering with Saka.
Mm-hmm.
He showed Saka who was boss, didn't he?
Absolutely love to see that.
Yep, we love a bit of banter between the boys. I've gone for a 2-1 Liverpool win here. I do think Salah gets on the score sheet.
Yeah.
I think Maddison actually gets the one at the other end, and then I think Darwin scores the winner, which you love to see as a Liverpool fan.
I would. Well, I think from the beginning of the season, as a Liverpool fan, I've been wanting to see Darwin Núñez starting. He's just been so electric every time that we've seen him play. So I think he's completely deserved his starting position in the team, and we saw it last week. And we're going to see it this week. And I'm going to captain him, actually, for my FPL this week.
This is your captain
This is my captain shout. The reason why is because I'm predicting a massive scoreline, 4-3 Liverpool.
4-3.
Same like...
7-goal thriller.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same scoreline as last season.
Oh, it was with the Richarlison late goal and then Jota going down the other end.
So little bit, I'm all for a little bit of that drama.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to absolutely hate watching it as a Liverpool fan. I don't think either team has a strong enough defence this year. Liverpool, we don't know what kind of defensive lineup they're going to put out. And with Spurs, I think they play such offensive fullbacks that when you've got players like Darwin Núñez, Diaz on the wings, Salah, there's just so much room for error here for Spurs that I think Liverpool are going to just hold the key. We seem to be the comeback kings this season, so I think that this is another example of where that's going to happen. So big scoreline.
Great. Moving on to the next game, we've got Nottingham Forest versus Brentford. So this is actually 12th against 13th, so a fairly even game.
Yeah.
Brentford are actually on a bit of a bad form recently, losing to Arsenal midweek. They also lost to Everton last weekend. And that was the shock result we mentioned earlier. And they were both at home. That's with a home crowd. Now this is away to Nottingham Forest. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 6 games. What are we thinking for this game?
Well, I'm going to go straight with my scoreline 2-2. Looking at both sides, I just really rate their attacks. Like you've got Mbeumo, Wissa on one side, and then you've got Owani, who just looks like an absolute monster for that Forest attack. So I just reckon those combining just going to result in goals, and I don't think any side is going to be able to edge it, so I reckon a 2-2.
But I did mention Mbeumo and Wissa last week in the predictions, and they did nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm backing them again. I've gone for a 2-1 Brentford win. I think Thomas Frank can pull it out of the bag. They've had this bad form. I think he's the perfect manager for them. I think he turns it around, and I think this is the game they turn it around. Again, I'm going to say that they get on the score sheet because I think they do.
Yeah.
They are.
They've just looked like, especially those opening game weeks.
Yep. They are Brentford's playmakers, and I think they score this game.
Yeah.
Moving on to the one you've all been waiting for. Not. Fulham versus Chelsea.
The mighty West London derby.
It is the West London derby. And it is Monday Night Football. Chelsea actually have a good record in this fixture. However, they've not had a good record the last few weeks.
No.
They currently start 14th in the Premier League table. I know it's still early on in the season, but 14th is pretty bad for a Chelsea side. My question for you is, at what point do they bring Frank Lampard back in?
Ooh,
How long is it?
Early Frank Lampard shouts. Well, I mean, obviously Todd Bowley has got this fantasy idea in his head, and I don't think he's going to stray from that anytime soon. Pochettino is at the wheel, although he's kind of swerving, ducking in and out on the motorway, knocking over all of the cones.
That team
he does
is
not
just
care.
ruining good managers.
Yeah. He still needs time to guide them to where they need to be. Case in point, Mudryk. The fee for Mudryk is going to rise to about 89 million, I believe. That's absolute insanity.
Especially because he's not made an instant impact. He's not done anything yet.
But he didn't make an impact before then. Yeah. So it's just crazy. But I think settling down with this side that are going to be at the club for 8 years. So potentially Pochettino has got an 8-year project ahead of him. Really, so to say that we're going to have action straight away, although it might leave them as relegation fodder this year, it's it's worrying stuff.
I also believe that Chilwell looked like he went off injured in the game midweek in the cup. That is, I know he's actually been dropped the last 2 games. So he's come on off the bench. I think that's a big loss. Chilwell's been one of their biggest actual playmakers.
Absolutely.
Chilwell on the left and Gusto on the right have been their main creative players. Gusto's been sent off and Chilwell's injured. They're gonna struggle.
Yeah. Also, well, on that where Chilwell's been on the bench, I think with Pochettino, he's got so many players to fit in that side. Yeah. End up playing Colwill at left back.
Yeah, I don't get it.
What is that about?
I think you've got to take the big decision and drop Thiago Silva if you want to play Colwill. I
wouldn't say Thiago Silva. I think he's still playing Disasi, and there's just
you don't rate Disasi.
Oh, I rate them. I definitely rate them, but I think their best defensive lineup is Colwill and Thiago Silva.
Right.
For me.
Yeah.
That alone, big name wise, tells you all you need to Ronaldo really. I mean, as much as the rest of the Chelsea side aren't as big names, they've still got some good players.
I literally said in the predictions last week, you've got to play Cole Palmer in that 10 role. He is the creative player in that squad now. And
they have shown no creativity over the last few games.
You've got to have someone feeding Nick Jackson, and they don't have it because Sterling's end ball is so bad. And now you're losing other creative players like Chilwell and Gusto, like we've mentioned. You're losing those players. You have to have another creative player in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you are not going to score goals.
Yeah.
So what is your prediction?
So my prediction is an absolute bore fest in West London, 0-0.
0-0? I'm sitting on the fence on this one. I've gone 1-1. It's going to be fairly boring. It's going to be pretty even all game. There will be a few chances for each team, fairly scrappy. I think they both snatch a goal and it's 1-1.
I think the only interesting thing for this Monday night fixture will be the lineup that Pochettino puts out.
Yeah.
Will be very revealing of the direction that he wants to go in, I think.
So, last game, and actually the 11th game of the game week.
Wow. So no 10 games this week?
No 10 games. I can't believe I said that last week. And it is the 2 teams that didn't play game week 1. It is Luton versus Burnley. This is the 2 promoted sides. And it's also 2 of the teams sat in the bottom 3. They've both got 1 point from the first 5 games.
Where they could potentially end up this season.
Yeah. I do think they're both going to sit in the bottom 3 for the majority of the season, if not all of it. They're both conceding a lot of goals.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, and like we saw in our little match day vlog that we did, watching Burnley, just look Championship.
Yeah, they obviously beat Salford fairly comfortably, but that's a Premier League team against a League 2 side. League 2 side that are actually sat nearly bottom of the league.
Yeah.
Salford, I think they're either 19th or 20th in League 2 right now.
Yeah.
You would expect that scoreline, and if not more. Like we saw in the cup, Blackburn beating Harrogate 8-0. That's the kind of scoreline you should be seeing between a team of that gap. Yeah, like I know it's 4-0, but it's 4-0. Like that, we see that in normal games between the teams. Like,
well, I'd say it's the manner in which you do it.
Yeah,
just not convincing at all, really. And for that reason, I've put Burnley to lose.
Oh, really?
With a 1-0.
1-0.
You mentioned Archer earlier.
Yeah.
And
he plays for Sheffield United.
Not Archer then.
That's definitely going in. Morris. I may have mentioned Morris earlier. I was actually going to mention him specifically.
You didn't mention Morris earlier.
I was going to mention Morris though because he's in my FPL team, and with them having a double game week, my captain decision is between him and Haaland.
Ooh.
So we've got Morris against Everton and Burnley, or Haaland against Wolves.
I mean, that's a big one for you FPL players out there.
Yeah.
I think that's a massive one.
I'm gonna stick with Haaland. I can't lie. I just I can't go off him. He's too good.
Yeah.
But that being said, Morris is on penalties. He's been, if anyone's gonna score for Luton, it's probably gonna be Morris.
It probably is. I think spark is the right word. I think just a little bit of something there for Luton that just we don't seem to see with Burnley, which is really odd watching Burnley last season where they were so electric. So it's a weird one. I think it comes down to Vincent Kompany, honestly.
With all that being said, my prediction couldn't be further off from yours.
Oh, really?
I just think with this being a Tuesday night game at Kenilworth Road, we're gonna it's a very compact stadium. We're gonna see a lot of challenges going in on that Tuesday night. Sorry to say it, but a Championship side against a Championship side in the Premier League, I can see goals. I'm going for a 3-2 Burnley win.
Lots of goals.
Yeah,
5 goals.
5 goals for Villa on this one.
Wow.
With both teams conceding so many in other games, they're going to be tired from there's a lot of games in a quick turnaround. There's midweek games every week now. Especially with this being the double game week, so they play on the Saturday, don't they? And then they've only got two days in between. So one of them will be recovery, one of them will be on the training ground, and then it's game day again. I can see a lot of goals because of that, and it being a smaller stadium. You tend to get a lot of corners and a lot of throw-ins and stuff at Kenilworth Road. I think a lot of set pieces are going to be the key to this game. And Burnley, like we saw on Tuesday, they do have a threat from set pieces. They've got a fairly big, tall team. Rodriguez.
Their crosses were pretty lethal.
Their first goal was from a corner, and I think that sneaks it for them. I think they get 3-2.
Wow. Yeah.
So there we go. That was our Premier League predictions for Game Week 7. Let us know your predictions in the comments again.
Thanks very much for watching, guys. Do make sure to leave us a like and subscribe as well, and we'll leave you a link to one of our other videos so you can stay in the Title Charge YouTube channel realm. And we'll see you later for another one of our videos.
Go watch it!